Hi, my name is Sadie Strawn, and this is my ELA Theory to Practice presentation. My past experiences as a student have influenced the teacher I hope to become. As a child, I was very active. It was hard to sit still, and I loved to talk to anybody that would listen. And yes, talking is still one of my favorite pastimes. School was always a challenge for me, not necessarily because of the content, although I'll admit sometimes it was hard, but because I felt misunderstood by many of my teachers. I received good grades, but because of my bubbly nature, many teachers treated me as if I was a burden to them. Even when I tried my hardest, I felt as though I could never please them, and for a long time I became disinterested in school. Then I met Mr. Wright, my high school sophomore world studies teacher. He always showed compassion and interest in each and every student he had. His classroom was collaborative and student-focused. He took my energy and used it in a positive manner. He had me do things such as take the role of discussion leader, which obviously let me talk, but in a productive manner. During every class, we would have brain breaks, which allowed us to move, stretch, breathe, and refocus. I had never felt more comfortable in a classroom. He showed me how to focus my behaviors in a way that became beneficial for my learning. And he is the reason I want to become a teacher. My teaching practices will reflect on my experiences as a student, good and bad. I will also implement aspects of Vygotsky's social constructivism theory with the humanistic approach. Vygotsky's social constructivism theory emphasizes the importance of students constructing their own knowledge rather than reproducing knowledge that is given to them. This type of learning occurs through meaningful content with authentic tasks. For this learning to occur, a teacher must not only know a student's learning style, but also their background. With this knowledge, a teacher can provide instruction with real-world applications for each student. Vygotsky's zone of proximal development is the difference of what a student can do alone and what a student can do with the help of others. Thus, collaboration is key. I believe the most effective classroom is one that is student-focused and collaborative. I will act as a guide, model, and facilitator rather than a lead. This is not to say that my classroom will not be a controlled environment. I will get to know each student personally so that I can provide content that they can relate to and understand. I desire to create instruction that focuses on my students' interests so that they are continually engaged in their learning. I will provide my students with meaningful content and then will allow them to apply this knowledge through many differentiated techniques. I will provide instruction through the I do, we do, you do model so that students are learning in their zone of proximal development. This will give students the confidence to succeed. The physical layout of my classroom will encourage collaborative learning through group desk arrangements and a meeting area in which group instruction and discussion will occur. My students will not only be the focus of my classroom, but they will be the guides to their own learning. So you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with ELA? Well, the answer is, ELA has to do with everything. Reading, writing, speaking, and listening are foundational principles in which all learning occurs. The Common Core standards focus on what students should know at each grade level. The ELA standards help to guide instruction through all content areas and prepare students for success. In my opinion, ELA is the most important content area. In my classroom, reading, writing, speaking, and listening will not only be used for language arts, but will span through various content areas. I will incorporate ELA into other content areas through many methods. For example, in science, my students will have science notebooks in which they write, draw, and reflect on the experiences of the class. I will also use discussion techniques and appropriate technology to incorporate ELA into other content areas. I will prepare my students for their future in education using ELA. My philosophy of teaching can be summed up through a quote of Robert Frost. I am not a teacher, but an awakener. My goal is for students to see their full potential, not through knowledge that I create for them, but for knowledge that they come upon themselves. Thank you for listening and have a great day.